What we're going to be talking about today is what I've called the biggest game in town. My name is Walter Burian. I live in Prescott, Arizona. I became aware of something approximately 10 years ago, which changed my life. I'll give a little analogy of how I learned about the complete financial takeover of the wealth of this country by composite government. Back in 1989, I lived in New Jersey. There was a governor by the name of Jim Florio who was running for office under a no new tax platform. He won, and as soon as he got into office, a $2.8 billion tax increase was enacted, the largest in the state's history. It's obvious that the public was not too thrilled about Mr. Florio's actions, and one of the local radio stations, 101.5 FM, started doing some rabble-rousing, taking calls from listeners on examples of waste and misspending in government. In the first 2 days I was listening, and I heard people calling in with examples of 5,000, 15,000, 85,000 was the highest figure I heard. I pulled out the State of New Jersey's budget report, which is the only thing I was aware of at that time. They had $11 billion on budget, $6 billion off budget. The total annual service budget was $17 billion a year. I called into the show and I made the comment, come on guys, you're missing the whole point. The highest figure I heard was 85,000. The state's dealing with billions of dollars. I read off the figures. I said if there's fraud, waste, and misspending taking place, it's taking place on tunes of tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. So when I started looking at the figures on the New Jersey budget report, as I mentioned, there were $11 billion on budget, $6 billion off budget. It showed a net available of $25.6 billion. But then I asked myself the number one question that IRS asks in an audit: what are the cash gross receipts? I started noticing the large cash cow groups in state government, the New Jersey Turnpike, Garden State Parkway, Port Authority, New York, New Jersey. The revenue was not inclusive in the budget report. I didn't see any large returns from investment funds on the budget report. And I said, they have to have two sets of books here. They're not accounting for the whole picture. The director of the budget at that time was an individual by the name of Richard Keevy. He was on vacation till the following Tuesday of that week. I found out who his lower assistant was, called in, and the conversation went just like this. I said, hi, this is Walter Burian. I'm working on a report for Richard. I have to have it done by Tuesday when he gets back from vacation. I need all the figures on the autonomous agency accounts, interest accounts, investment accounts. And the reply I got was, oh, you want the comprehensive annual financial report. Bing. First time I ever heard that before in my lifetime. Got it that Friday. Started crunching numbers. It showed total liquid investment funds of $188 billion. $188 billion. Of which common stock ownership $70 billion. On loan to public and private corporations $10 billion. Insurance company equity participation $14 billion. On loan to public and private corporations $10 billion. And I started looking for the total cash gross receipts, as I mentioned, what IRS would ask for in an audit. I found it on page 174. Now, this is 1989's Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. On page 174, under cash additions, all agencies, all departments, all sources. Here's a state with a declared service budget of $17 billion, who was bringing in $86,799 million in cash. I saw that figure and instantly realized the definition of syndicated organized crime. Here we had a representation to the public that the state of New Jersey was bringing in $17 billion, when in reality they were bringing in close to $86 billion. They had $188 billion in liquid investment funds. And I also learned the principle of operation that day. Anything that was a cost and an expense, traditional service side of the budget report, health and welfare, human services, motor vehicles, was left under the budgetary basis, and the public footed 100% of the bill for 100% of the services. Now, anything that was a profit center had the ability of being a profit center, large investment fund that generated tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, totally restricted by statute for no tie or inclusion whatsoever with the budgetary basis. Now, this is what I've called the biggest game in town. I saw it first in New Jersey, and so the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, here I am, a commodity trading advisor. I was doing a national news line coast to coast at the time. Never heard of the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. I wanted to find out why. I was mad. I mean, there was such a distinct difference between the revenue on the comprehensive annual financial report and the minuscule revenue that was shown now on the budgetary basis. I said, why did I did not see this on a newspaper, radio show, TV show? Now, the department that mailed out the report, the comprehensive annual financial report, was from the Department of Treasury. I called the mailroom, and the mailroom usually doesn't get a call from the public, so they were very cooperative. I wanted to find out who the report was sent to. I thought it was a short list. They said, I'm sorry, sir, the list is too long. We can't read it to you on the phone. So I started qualifying. I found out it was sent to every editor of every paper on the East Coast. It was sent to the deans of all of the colleges. It was sent to the CEO and every one of the directors from ABC, CBS, NBC. When I verified that, I started smelling cooperative effort for non-disclosure. I then got the telephone number from ABC and NBC where the report was sent to. I called, and the conversation went just like this. Hi, this is Walter Burien calling from the Department of Treasury. We've been sending you our comprehensive annual financial report for the last 14 years, and we're doing a logistical survey on how many other states are sending you their reports. Could you please tell me? ABC was getting it from 36 states, NBC was getting it from 34 states. When I heard that, now I'm getting very mad. I'm starting to see a clear-cut cooperative effort for non-disclosure on the most important information that exists in this country, period. The extent of the financial takeover of composite government of this country, the wealth of this country, with the cooperation of the syndicated media for non-disclosure. My next step was I called New York, got New York's comprehensive annual financial report, which showed approximately about $735 billion in liquid investment funds. I then got the City of Manhattan's report. Now, when I mentioned the comprehensive annual financial report, it's not just the state. The majority of all cities, counties, school districts, pension funds, autonomous agencies, such as the New Jersey Turnpike or New York Thruway Authority, put out a comprehensive annual financial report. When I got Manhattan's report, it showed liquid investment funds of $1.2 trillion, more than the entire state. My mind started getting boggled as to, thinking of the composite totals for all the states, all of the cities, all of the counties. Subsequently, over the last 10 years, I've been factoring in and compiling the aspect of composite totals. The current figure stands at about $60 trillion plus in liquid investment funds. The composite totals for all cities, counties, states, and the federal government.